everyone, I'm Nick, and I'm here to tell you why the 2005 to 2010 Mustang GT is hands down the best first car that you can buy if you're an American muscle enthusiast. These are the top 5 reasons why these cars are absolutely unbeatable for starter cars. So the first reason that I'm going to talk about today on why this is the best first car you can have is affordability. Now right now these cars run anywhere between $5,000 and $8,000 depending on how good of a deal you can get. But I myself, when I was I think I was 16 when I started working at Chick-fil-A, right? I just saved up a whole bunch of money. It took a really long time, you know, lots of hours making chicken. So not much fun, but if you're willing to work, you can definitely put the money together. And the great thing about these cars is that you can find a lot of examples, whether you want a clean one or one that's already modded. You can find them, they're super common, super cheap relatively. And for someone who's not really into JDM as much, like myself, I'm a big American Muscle fan, if you can't tell by the banner on the front of the car, this is a great V8 muscle car that you can get for super cheap. Now of note, you know, the insurance, there's no way around it, it's pretty high. Gas mileage, I get about 20. I've seen people get about 25 on the highway, but I have also gotten as low as single digits. Usually when I go to car shows, I get like 9 miles per gallon, so that is something to be cognizant of. But if you're looking at just the cost of the car, this is the perfect first car in terms of how cheap it is and how much you get. So the second reason that this is easily the best first car you can get as a young car lover, teenage car lover, this thing makes really good horsepower and torque numbers stock. But on top of that, the number of mods and the number of just aftermarket components for this, the 2005 to 2010 Mustang, I mean, it's crazy. You can get anything. Just like axle back exhaust alone back there, you got MagnaFlow, you've got pipes, you've got Roush. I think you even have Saline's exhaust, which might be MagnaFlow, but I'm not sure. When you're buying your first car, if you really want to get into the car world, customizability is key because you want a build, right? But you're on a budget. So if you buy some obscure car, you know, that not many people have, a good example is like a Pontiac GTO from 06. You know, they've got a really good motor in them. They've got a lot of horsepower, but there aren't many aftermarket parts. And that makes it difficult to really customize. Whereas these things, they're everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I don't go out driving more than one day without seeing one. So these are super common cars, tons of aftermarket parts. Mine has a cold air intake, simple tune, axle back exhaust, aftermarket wheels, and I think that covers the major stuff. And that's all been pretty cheap. So this car is phenomenal if you want to get into customizing and building your first car. The third reason that I'm going to talk about today is the family, let's call it, that comes with cars like this. If you buy, and this extends to this car specifically, but also to just any car of this variety, you know, Camaros, GTOs, Challengers. If you have a muscle car like this, you have an automatic ticket to be part of that car family. You know, I bought this car in October of 2018, and I took it to the AM 2019 car show. I actually did the Make-A-Wish parade, so if you saw me with the big old American flag, shout out to you. But going to that show and meeting all those people who had those similar interests, just getting to be a part of that, you know, going down the drag strip a couple times, that was amazing. I think that's up there in some of my top life experiences. I absolutely loved AM 2019. I thought it was amazing. And having a car like this, you've got a whole family. These cars give you a ticket to be a part of that family. They automatically, people will stop you on the road, people roll down their windows at red lights. I mean, it feels great to be around other people that have that interest. And if you don't have one of these cars, you're not just going to meet those people on the street, but if somebody sees you driving a Mustang, pull up to a red light, you know, you're probably going to get a nod, especially if they're driving a Camaro, Challenger, Mustang. I mean, anything modified, anything that you can race. It's really nice to be a part of that family. The fourth reason why these cars are absolutely wonderful first cars is because of the engine and the transmission. Up front, it's a 4.6 liter V8, and this video is specifically for the V8 version. I'm not going to speak on the V6s. Personally not a fan, but to each their own. The V8 engine in this, the 4.6 liter V8, is taken from the Ford F-150. That means it is extremely durable. These V8s run for a very long time. The blocks are super strong. Having a super strong engine block and a super strong transmission to go with it, they're both from the Ford F-150. It's really important because if you're like me, you're going to beat on your car every once in a while. And if you beat on your car, you don't want it to explode. And I know there are some cars that do tend to do that. Now, of note, I did have my clutch go out right before the Beaver car show in 2019. It just went. One minute I had a clutch, the next minute the clutch pedal was just kind of flopping around. And there was an awful grinding noise coming from down in the transmission. And that was a pain. That cost me about $1,000 to repair. But I totally could have done it myself. And that actually leads into my next reason. The fifth reason why this is the best first car. And right here we have reason number 5. This engine bay is probably the best thing about this car, if I'm being completely honest. In a lot of modern cars, you're going to get an engine bay that's covered in plastic. You're going to get an engine bay where everything's kind of hidden. All the tanks and all the reservoirs are just kind of jammed in there. But in this car, wonderfully enough, the engine is right here. This is it. This is the engine. And it's not like flipped on its side. It's not facing back. Last year, I actually had, the car was overheating a lot. Like I would turn it on, it would run for about 30 seconds, and then the temperature gauge would go and turn bright red. And we eventually figured out that was actually the sensor had gone bad, and it was the cylinder head temperature sensor. So you might think super difficult to get to. Net took me about 2 hours because thankfully it was just right down in there. The intake manifold came off like a breeze. Now, I know at the beginning of this video I said that there were 5 good reasons why this is your best first starter car if you're an American muscle enthusiast. Now, I'm going to give you a bonus 6th reason, and if I'm being honest, this is probably pretty much the prevailing reason of why this car is just the best. Listen here. This is the 6th reason why this is the absolute best first car if you love this sound. My car just has an axle-back exhaust, everything else is stock, and it sounds like this. I mean, how can you possibly say no to that? Alright everyone, that is my 5 plus a bonus 6th reason why this is the best starter car if you're an American muscle enthusiast. Now, I know this is probably going to be a bit of a contentious video. Again, personally, I'm not much of a JDM guy, but if you are a JDM guy, this is probably not the right choice. But then again, why would you be watching this video? So yeah, at the end of the day, just find a car that really you can get in it, you can drive it time and time again, and it just puts a smile on your face. That's exactly what this thing does for me every single time I drive it. If you ever see me on the road, you'll just see me looking straight ahead and beaming because I just love the way this thing sounds. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon.